Hey, how you guys doing? Michael X. Yeah, so I wanted to go ahead and look at everything that's been released now that it's actually out. I really haven't looked at the Chinese tank destroyers um, at all, not even on the PC, so I thought we could look at them just in case you're planning on going down them and see if they bring any advantages. Now, I know that there's a lot of people out there on the PC that have already gone down these tech trees, and they do bring something different. Although they look like most Soviet tank destroyers are very similar or very into the T-54, um, you know, there was like 800 variants of the T-54s, at least I think, something like that. I mean, I'm not 100% sure on that number, but what's up, Dwight? Look a lot like a Russian, TD. Yeah, I was actually curious if it was actually worth doing. The tier 10 looks to me like it actually has the WZ 111-14 hull. But let me go ahead and bring up a World of Tanks program so we can actually look at the different armors and stuff. Excuse me, when we get to that point of the video. First, we got to look at the desktop. So it literally is, the tier 10 literally is the WZ 111 1G. So, okay. So, I wanted to look at it on the PC and then kind of look at the armor on the Xbox because they vary dramatically, especially since there's so many updates ahead of us. So, let's see, full list. Let's go to China. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and put it out there. I was really hoping that we were going to get the WZ 111 Model 5A. And I also thought we were going to get maybe a DPM buff in the 113, but somebody pointed out to me the other day that they're very overpowered on the PC, and so if we get them, they're going to be some sort of a balanced version of that. Let me go ahead and check the film quality. Okay, so everything's looking good. All right, so let's look at the top tier, and see what it brings to the table. So obviously, it's going to have a lower alpha damage on here because of well, they balance that out on PC. So it's saying 750, but I bet you it's going to be like 850 on console. 290 standard pin. What's the caliber of the gun? Aim time 2.4. Not really that bad on that aim time. 3.4. It depends on the armor, to be honest. Really depends upon that armor. Now, it looks like it could have an actual really high rate of fire with equipment and stuff. But first, let's look at the actual model and look at it. So, it basically takes heat to pin it. The IS-7 is not going to be able to pin this upper part at all. There's no way it's pinning it. It's got too much effective armor. Yeah, maybe it might possibly be able to pin here, but I would say that this thing, I mean, you really have to face forward. Yeah, you have to face forward in it. Now, obviously, this plate, real thin. It's actually thinner or thicker than I would expect it to be, considering this is supposed to be the WZ 111. But that's still nothing. That's tier 8s. Tier 8s can pin that. Yeah, tier 8s can pin that with APCR. So that's kind of scary. And then the side is just absolutely HE territory. And I'm going to say that the top of it just absolutely get obliterated by artillery. That's what it looks like to me. Because like I said, a lot of the tanks they're giving us now were designed for the, I'll say, buffed artillery. Because it's actually a buff. You get better accuracy. You can do more module damage and so on. So Shadow, I'm just going to say Shadow here, says, as you guys can read on the screen, they should buff the Russian tanks. They're being out, bring out these, not saying give USSR God mode, just they need more modeling completely. The Russian tanks? I don't know. I think that the Russian tanks have a clear advantage with their guns. a lot of people don't realize, like, well, like the M48 Patton, it was designed to fire on the move, and it could fire on the move, and so was the. I mean, the reason why that we went with medium tanks and not these huge heavies was because, one, we had to ship them, but two, we had the technology of, you know, built in. I mean, they didn't, you know, send any guns out into the field that weren't stabilized enough to fire on the move. Some of them had very poor accuracy, but we're talking about there's also a different kind of fire. That's where you basically stop, aim, and shoot. Soviet tanks had that. The T-54 was balanced, but it wasn't stabilized. So a lot of the Russian tanks, you could actually fire them by holding the gun and looking down the sight with your right arm and fire while holding the barrel. I mean, not where it hurt your hand, but... So this is kind of concerning too. You got probably the average, 5 degrees here, to the left and to the right. It's a pretty big gun. Let's check out the speed. Maybe it's fast or something. Let's see, mobility, it can do 38. It's not really that quick. Considering that, I mean, the best part of it is its upper hull. Let's actually look at the Russian tanks really quick as well. See, Russian vehicles. I wanted to look at it versus the 268 armor, because I know that it has, pretty thick armor too. I mean, it actually says that it's thicker on here. It says it's thicker, but if you guys look, it was giving me the weird, there's like certain places you can pin it and certain places you cannot pin it. This tank is a very strange creature, I'll just say. And that, yeah, it looks very, very similar, very similar to the Chinese tank. So, let me go ahead and... I actually, this is a 152. I didn't actually look at the gun caliber, but this can do 48. So the Object 268 is actually faster, at least on PC it is. It could be different on console. That's why I wanted to look at it here first, because I'm going to go ahead and say that I'm actually not going to be going for the Chinese tank destroyers unless there's something that it brings to the table that some of my other tank destroyers don't bring. Now, I'm not an anti-tank destroyer person, but I have, the tank destroyers that I like, and I mean, they're kind of like artillery to me. I don't really enjoy playing them as much. I like, having the risk of being hit by one of the tank destroyers, plus being, circled by mediums. So I kind of like mediums and heavies. My favorite's probably a medium heavy. Anyway, let's see here. Not tier 1. So we'll go back to China and check out what caliber gun this is. Let's see. It is a 152. So it looks to me like it shoots some heat. Is it heat it shoots? Well, that's actually pretty crazy. So you got heat that can pin real high. We're talking huge. So, okay. So now that we've seen this, let's go ahead and look at... the patch notes really aren't going to help us with this, but looking at what tanks were put out. So we're talking, 9 new tanks. We've got pictures of them here. So we could start out with, I don't know what tier that is. That one totally looks like an ISU 152. Okay, so here's tier 1. So Tier 2, sorry. Tier 2. Tier 3, kind of a cool looking tank destroyer. Tier 4. This one right here looks like it was built on a T-54 chassis, but backwards, which is kind of trippy. And then this one, of course, looks like the T144, or is it the T44? I think it's the T44-122. I think that's what this one looks like. The turret on the 268 needs more gun handling, side to side. Yeah, you know, I don't actually play that tank because of that. But I'm gonna go ahead and say that it brings speed. So if they do anything to that tank, you're gonna lose that speed of that vehicle. And I'm gonna say that's really its attribute, is that it can come around a corner, shoot an E3's bottom plate, and start backing up right before the E3's actually aimed in all the way. And I've actually had it happen to me before where I couldn't actually hit the guy, you know. But anyway, so is this the tier 9? Or is that the tier 8? Because this is another tank. This is actually the tier 10, which, I mean, really to me looks like the tier 8 ISU 152. Really looks like it to me. It's got to be that tank, right? Yeah. So the tank I put on the screen was actually the tier 8, huh? Maybe that's a better tank than I thought. Yeah, so it looks like same everything. You got even the same alpha damage, which is kind of ridiculous because it should be 850. I'm pretty sure this thing's going to roll at 850, but eventually they're going to have to drop the amount of damage that tank destroyers can do because, well, let's just face it, if you can get one shot by any tank in the game, that really puts the cards in one specific guy's hands. The Chinese TDs are shitty versions of they're shitty versions of the Russian TDs. I can't believe they aren't even adding in the WZ 5A. That's actually what I was looking forward to, because I've been actually playing that, but maybe they'll do it here soon. But I'm gonna go ahead and just tell you guys, I think they're avoiding it because of, well, what's happened on the PC with them. And if you guys have ever watched any PC anything, if you guys are watching anything on the PC, oops, that's the wrong site. If you're watching anything on the PC right now that has to do with comp, the Chinese heavies absolutely dominate the battlefield on most maps because of the 7 gun depression that they gave them on here, which I'm going to go ahead and show you guys that, and they also increased their DPM. So full tank list, let's go to China, look at the 113. So you can see here that stock, it's got a 9.59. Now I'm going to go ahead and look at the console real quick and look at the WZ's stock DPM. It actually says the reload time's 14 seconds on the WZ. That's actually the wrong tank. Let me I'm comparing it with a tier 9. That's hilarious. Okay, hold on a sec. Alright, now I got the correct thing. Alright, so 10.9 DPM. So I'm gonna go ahead and say that, you know, you're talking almost 1.10 longer reload time, and the gun depression is 5 degrees, and on here gun depression is I always seem to miss this. It's pretty funny. Reload time, damage. Where's the gun depression at? Disposition. I don't see depression anywhere. Oh, there it is. So it's got 7. So in comparison, you get 2 more degrees on the PC, and you get about a second off the reload time, which, I mean, if you guys look at this, it really becomes one of the best heavy tanks in the game because of it. So if you were to take, say, for instance, some Vents and a Rammer, just that alone, you guys can see drops your reload to 8.35, and you're doing an alpha of 440. If we were to throw on some food, you guys can get that down to, is that 7.5? That's pretty crazy. Now I haven't even done Brothers in Arms. Let's do Brothers in Arms. That should be it, Brothers in Arms. And that's like the best you can get that reload time, 7.83. That's pretty good. I mean, considering that a Russian medium's doing that every 5.4 seconds, it's doing 320, 340, and this thing's doing 440. So this became the absolute monster. Seriously, like in every comp game that you see that has any kind of fields in it, this tank just absolutely became the number one. So let's go ahead and look at the not that one. We want to look at the model. So this one has the same reload we have now, but has an alpha of 490. So our 113 right now actually has a 10.9 on the aim or on the reload time. This one is 10.74, and it has higher alpha. So if you guys could imagine, these are going to be the future. If they ever release them, they're going to be the future comp vehicles. Like everybody's going to want to have one of these because of how much DPM they can do. Look at how much DPM that's on a heavy tank. If we were to throw Vince, Rammer, and I think this is actually why they haven't given us this, is because it becomes, I'll just say, it becomes a very overpowered line like the E5 was there for a while. They did balance it out. I think that the E5's balanced out. It's still a tough tank to play. Sometimes you can pin the hatch, sometimes you can't. You can't depend upon hitting it all the time. But yeah, 8.86 seconds. Yeah, that's actually crazy. Okay, let me get caught up on the chat here. So Shadow says the turret needs more gun handling side to side. Do you mean it needs more? It needs to be able to shoot steeper, or I guess it would be how many degrees? It needs more degrees. Is that what you're saying? They've done what needs to be done on USS Chinese tanks. Cover over and still advance. Let's see. These Chinese tank destroyers are. I actually just read that. Yeah, I agree. Everyone on PC says the WZ 111 5A is OP. They will probably nerf it too, and I'm gonna go ahead and say that that's exactly why I don't think they're giving us this, because the PC is probably working on a balanced solution right now for these tanks. So I am going to go ahead and say that 5 gun depression for a heavy tank, that has a really light hull, is kind of messed up, because you can't really use the hull effectively. And I mean, the tank can't even really side scrape the 113, not on the Xbox anyway. So it really does need the gun depression at least. You guys can see here. Let's check out the gun depression on this one. It has the same 7, so it's kind of like a Conqueror, not the new Conqueror, but yeah. So I mean, in my personal opinion, I would much rather have the 5A, but hey, I am a heavy tank person. I do enjoy heavies and mediums, like I said, so that's pretty interesting to know. Is there anything else that this actually brings to the table? The only thing I can see that this bringing is, I mean, really nothing. I mean, it's definitely a different tank. I bet you it's got different everything, different characteristics, different handling. It probably bounces stuff that the Russians don't, and it does what some Russians, I mean, they probably tried to make it as different as possible. But I mean, their top tier totally looks like an ISU 152, just with a thicker plate. But it's completely pinnable by heat off of heavies, so it really becomes almost identical to the, you know, it's a slower version of the 268 in my opinion. But I mean, I don't own it, so I don't know, you know. With a 490 Alpha too, the 113 only has 440, but the it can fire a second less. So if you think about that, if it takes you a second longer, if you fire 4 rounds, you're going to actually do more damage than the 3 rounds that are going to come off of, you know, off of the yeah, the 3A or 5A. But you know, hey, either way, they're really great tanks. And I'm going to say that probably what's going to happen is they're probably going to balance out they're either going to nerf the gun handling and leave the DPM the same, which would be horrible, or they're going to slow the tanks down a little bit and kind of all around nerf them, just all around, to try and balance them and just make them a little better. I personally think they should probably just, you know, make the aim time, not the aim time, but they should probably make, for the heavy tanks, they should probably just make the reload just a little bit longer, just a little bit, just so it's not quite of a DPM monster, which is what I think they're probably gonna do, but we'll see. Yeah, but most high tier alpha tanks don't really have the best DPM. Yeah, you know, that's there's a lot of that stuff with console. I mean, seriously, there's a lot of that. So looking at the console, R113 is actually a really hard tank to play. In my opinion, it's not very. I enjoy playing it like a medium. Like I play it like even less than a T10, like, because it just doesn't have anything it brings to the table. The ammo racks in this thing, it literally just gets ammo racked and caught on fire, and it's a very unfortunate thing that this, you know, about this tank. If you guys look at the ammo rack, you could pretty much just, you know, shoot it like a medium tank or like a Russian medium. You know, there's really not much stopping you from ammo racking this tank. I mean, as you guys can see, it just one shot to the left there, lower plate, and some flat ground, and you're going to be damaging the ammo rack. And then it's got the same ammo racks as yeah, it's got the same ammo racks as like a E75, which, I mean, you could just get ammo racked from anywhere, and that just makes this tank not too fun for me. If you look at the hull, it's only 120, and that's really not enough to protect it. And although the sides are 120, if you look at the space armor on it and then underneath the tracks, you guys can see that it's only 90, which is less than a T54. You know, so this tank actually really can't do much but just be super fast and play hull down. That's it. It can only play that role, and it really can't even, you know, be on even a slight angle, which is unfortunate for the 113. So, I mean, I was hoping they would give us at least the gun depression on this, because it does need it. It's a very, I mean, if it was in 7 gun depression, you could probably get to where people's APCR and heat wouldn't be able to pin the upper plate. But right now you can't even face hug anybody, because all they got to do is just aim down and shoot right through. So that's very unfortunate. Go ahead and get caught up. So Robin Wright, thanks for joining, and Benjamin. So it says, "What's up, Michael?" From this. Oh, okay. Way to break it down. Don't you 3-mark? Didn't you 3-mark the 113 on Xbox 360? I'm pretty sure I saw your video a long time ago. No, I have never even played this tank. I don't even think I even have that much battles. I got this tank because I thought in the future we would actually be in a position where it would become the OP monster that it is right now. You guys can see I only have 21 battles in there. So I've never, yeah, you might have been thinking of another YouTuber maybe. I'm really not a big fan of the Chinese tanks. The WZ 111, you might go, how do you have the 113 when you've only played 109 games with the WZ? I actually picked up the WZ and this tank with free XP. Sounds terrible, but I mainly only use these tanks for comp. I don't ever play them in pub games, seriously. So, yeah, they just kind of sit in the garage now. I don't even really do them. I've actually had this tank and I haven't played one game in it in over a year. I mean, I wanted to get the 1-3, but I don't see a purpose for it. If you guys really want to know, I don't see a purpose of getting the tier 9 or the 1-2-1. I mean, I like the high I like the high alpha gun, but I'd much rather have DPM. So I don't know, you know. But yeah. So Chinese tank destroyers. Let's see what it says here on them. Whoops, that's not China. Let's look at the. Let's see here. Right here. So this one will give us the most accurate. Because if we try the tier 9, there's modules involved. So let's see here. Ammo rack on one side of the tank, it looks like. And that's actually horrible. So you aren't going to want to be given that. I mean, especially since it's only 90. It's only 90 thick there. Which, I mean, that's just not good. I mean, if you get hit there with like a Death Star, this thing's just going to go up. See, what kind of gun depression we talking here? 6? That's terrible. Yeah, 6 gun depression. That's horrific. So it does look like it has about the same. So it's slightly angled 230. So it probably does have the equivalent of 300. I'm gonna say that if you probably shoot at this right now with heat from a E5, it's probably just gonna go right through. Seriously, like it doesn't even have anything that's at 190. It just goes straight to super thin. Yeah, I would say an artillery or even a Death Star, if you were to shoot right below the gun, it would probably do max damage because it's only 90 or 120 right there. And even the sides of the gun are kind of thin. If you look at that, the sides of the gun are actually pinnable. Right there, you can actually pin it at angles, so that's not good. Yeah, that's actually a huge weakness. The gun is actually a huge weakness. Yeah, it says 250. I don't know if you could pin through that gun, but I'm pretty sure an AP round, maybe an AP round up close from an E3 could pin right through that, right through the gun mandelet. I'm just gonna say maybe. I mean, I'd have to try it, but it does look to me like that. Right. Yeah, I don't think I need to look at anything more. Like I said, I think that they are. I don't think they're bad. I mean, I think that at some point this might be a fun tank to get and play. Like this really looks like the object. Was it the? It really looks like the Russian. You know, it's like a mixture. It's definitely a mix. Kind of gun we talking about on here? It says a 130, so it's basically got the same gun as the WZ. It looks like you can get the 152 on it though. Comes with a 130. Yeah, it's unfortunate that you can't see the modules. Yeah, you really can't see the modules, but you can see the pin and all that. 750 alpha. I'm gonna say it's probably 850 average roll. So yeah, that's pretty much that. I mean, I don't think there's anything more to look at. Seriously, with this tech tree, for me anyway, not really anything to look at. Yeah, this is the extent of my Chinese tanks, and I'm probably gonna say that I probably will sell this. I just don't have the. To me, it plays like the T-44, and you can either run it with the 122 and not hit anything, and try and get up really close with dangerous vehicles, or you can, you know, use the gun that's basically got almost the exact same features as the Type 59, and you know, although the gun's good if you're shooting APCR, the AP shells are definitely lacking. I mean, it's literally a not as good version of the Type 59. The premium is actually better than the T-34-2. Um, yeah, in my opinion. I like getting the 122 on it, but that's about it. Alright, so let's see here. Can you give me a really quick thought of the Chinese the 112? I have it, but it's really, well, you know, that tank, the premium, I don't know if we can, I think we can look at it in the garage. So the 112, right? 112, 112, where are you, 112? Should probably have heavies here somewhere. Did I pass it? Well, there's the... They may not have it here. Unless I passed it. 112. I play the IS-6. Well, I used to. I don't anymore. And my buddy, the one thing that the 112 had over me was it was faster. And I know that they recently beefed up the side armor. I don't know if they did it on that tank, but I do remember reading something about it. But I'm not seeing it here. But yeah, my friend said he loved the tank. It just requires shooting a lot of APCRs sometimes if you're in higher tier lobbies. And you can sometimes get away with shooting standard shells. But yeah, I don't see anything on here with the 112. Yeah, the best thing you could do with it, no, I mean, I'll just show you, like my IS-6. The IS-6. IS-6 has an underwhelming gun. It has really good armor, especially if you're trying to side scrape. And I'll show you what I mean. If you look at the armor, it all looks, you know, it all looks really underwhelming. You know, it's like 100, but maybe 120 in effectiveness. But when you're shooting at this at angles, it usually bounces everything except tier 9s, which is where you kind of go into a, if you give an angle like this, it will bounce a lot of stuff. The turret as well isn't very, you know, the turret isn't really the best. It can be pinned. So this takes really good in tier 8 games, and if you play it from distance and range and just kind of waste ammunition on long range targets, I have found that this tank plays a lot better when it comes to the side scraping of it, because it has a little bit of extra armor on those sides there, as you can see. So that actually helps you against high explosives. The 112 though, a lot of people that I've seen play it, if you're saying it's in the Chinese tech tree, so you're saying, are you saying the 112, huh? 112 Chinese tech tree. Let me see here. I don't think I've played it. If it's in here, you mean it's? Oh, okay, I got you. It's a premium you could just buy. This ain't China. Okay, yeah. Well, it definitely gives me a visual. The 112. So like I said, compared to the IS-6, it has speed. That's pretty much what, you know. So it's basically a WZ. It's basically a 111 type hull, but it's flat, like a. It's a really good, you know, like the lower plate is its weakest feature. You can see it here, you know. So it's very fast, but look at its turret. It's actually better than the IS-6. It also comes with heat rounds that have 250 pin. Yeah, it's got some really good places here where, you know, when you're coming around a corner and you come around at an angle like this, you can take a lot of shots. As you can see here, the sides here are not spaced, even though they should be. Actually, I think they are spaced. Yeah, look at that. You got spaced armor. like an IS-6. And that's really the thing, is to try and use this tank, use that side armor. Now, obviously, hull down is the only way you can play this vehicle. You know what I mean? You really got to play it hull down. But, I mean, look at the turret. That right there is interesting because that's tier 10. You know, that's tier 10. Look at how round it is. That's very, very difficult to pin. I personally would say that if you could play this in a hull down position, try and stay on flat ground, and then kind of come around corners, you know, at an angle a little bit. Let's take a look at where the ammo racks are. Yeah, so the ammo racks are a little bit further back, so that should help out a lot. We can look at this on the PC as well and kind of get a really good idea, because it's pretty much gone unchanged for a very long time. So let me go ahead and go back to my desktop really quick. And we will go ahead and go to Tanks GG. Yeah, a friend of mine used to love it. I mean, like, he absolutely loved the tank because of the heat rounds. You get 230 heat penetration, or is it 250? 250 heat. And the IS gets like, IS-6 gets like, I don't know, what is it, 217? I mean, it's just enough to pin tier, you know. Would you recommend it over the IS-6? Only, I mean, well, I'm going to go ahead and say that I've actually taken out that tank that you're in because its hull is weak. Although the turret on the IS-6 looks really weak, it can still take the 200 pin. So I would say that they're probably equally matched. They have almost identical guns, but here's the difference. One trains Russian crews, one trains, you know, Chinese crews. So that's really up to you, I think. Let's look at the full tank list. We'll go back to China. We'll go ahead and go to tier 8, 112. So it's got the same standard shells. It's got kind of a longer reload, but the heat rounds on it, 250. That's what makes it better than the IS-6, in my opinion, is that it has that heat shells. And that makes a huge difference, because heat shells, although have lower velocity, they will pin a lot more. I'm gonna go ahead and say that this is almost the same exact gun that's on the IS-2 Chinese. And I can tell you that I've used to pin STIs with the 250 heat when needed, and that made it, to me, a better tank. But let's look at the model. Like I was saying, there are places on this thing, like if you come around a corner, this would be the smart place to shoot it. But I mean, look at how thick that is. If I'm in an IS-6 and I only have 217 pin, I'm not pinning you. As you can see, like maybe here I could pin you, maybe. If you shallow it up, it's got good all-around defense against an IS-6. It's just, like I said, when it comes to tier 10s, their heat's gonna pin you. As you guys can see, you know, heat is 330, you know, average. So some of these places can be pinned with APCR from like the Conqueror, but I'm gonna say that it is a rounded turret, and so I think facing forward and hull down, this is a better tank, in my opinion. You can also reverse side scrape. You can also reverse side scrape, so you back up against a building like that and kind of angle out and then shoot around the corner, and you just pull forward and fire. And although it doesn't work on the PC, it does work on console. So it might say 270, but it's probably more like 3 something. You can see this would be a place you wouldn't want to give, but all right here is reverse side scraping territory. Yeah, you can definitely reverse side scrape, and you know, I wouldn't do it against tier 10s. You know, and if you did, you'd want to be real shallow. Like, you'd want to make sure the wall was right here, and you'd only pull out to fire. But having that heat really does make a huge difference on a tank, because, you know, it's an anti-tank round, can go through more armor. Anyway, we're at 41 minutes. I would definitely say that I would personally prefer, um, if I was gonna say, if we were gonna have a tournament and I had the IS6, or I could choose the I could only choose between two vehicles, IS6 and the 112. I'd pick the 112 because it has higher pinning heat. Um, anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this live stream. I was only going to do for 30 minutes because I wanted to get something out. Anyway, if you guys would like to see more stuff like this, please hit that like button. And of course, if you want to see more content like this, please subscribe to my channel. Yeah, the more support I have, the the more we can get. Seriously, the more reviews we can get. If I was actually making, I don't know, maybe 5,000 views a video, I could probably afford to buy every tank that comes out and do a review on it. But I'd have to get, like I said, 5,000 views a video. I'm not really there right yet, or we're not really there yet. But I really, like I said, I don't really make enough money to buy like the 112 and try it out. You can, however, if you guys really want to see me like do a full review of a vehicle, I do have a playlist on my YouTube channel that literally says review vehicles, which I'm gonna go ahead and redo soon, because some of them are misleading, because they've changed the tanks since then. But yeah, if you were to go to I'd say just go to library. You can actually see, well, I have some of these that you can't see, like I had some Fallout videos and some Portal videos that nobody really liked, so I kind of took them off. Some Armored Warfare stuff. But let me see, if you look on my playlist, you should find, tank reviews, which is here. And it says I got 43 tanks reviewed. The IS6. These are all the tanks that I own. And I don't usually sell, anything that's tier 9 and 10. Not usually. So I got like the Leopard 1, E75. Unless they're really bad tanks that I'm not going to use in comp, like the VK4502B. I really enjoyed that vehicle. Yeah. The Object 704, I sold that vehicle just out of the fact that although it's a really fun tank to play, yeah, it's not a comp tank. So, but I have a lot of tank reviews here, that are pretty accurate. I'm gonna go ahead and say that there are some of these that aren't really quite as good, like the AMX CDC. I need to go back through and redo that. The Type 59 is still pretty much identical. See, what else has changed dramatically? The Skoda has a different reload time. So if you watch my video and I did a review on it, you guys are going to be like, hey, the reload time's different. So I got to remake that video. See, IS7, I need to redo that video as well because it has more hit points now, better gun handling. Yeah, there's a lot of tanks like that I'm gonna have to go back through and redo, redo a review on them. See, the T57 Heavy's the same. Well, actually, the gun handling and long range accuracy of the T57 Heavy has really been changed a lot. There's a lot of these tanks. The STI used to be one of my favorite tanks, and I just absolutely hate it now. It's just too slow for me. The IS4, same thing. If you guys notice, I don't actually have a review on the IS4 because when I was actually making it, I just realized that it was so slow. I just didn't enjoy playing it. I used to enjoy it, but anyway, the Kronvon same, T10's the same. Of course, I got the King Dragon, it's just basically a test drive video. So, but yeah, if you go here to my tank reviews, you can see all the tanks that I have. But if you would like to, and where I'm going to go ahead and go is, yeah, I should have a donate button. Now I'm going to go ahead and say that this isn't actually quite okay. I'm just going to show you what I mean by this, and that is I used to have a donate button up here. Well, you guys can see here, I do. Support my channel. You guys can go to this link here and donate some money using PayPal. It's not really a donation. You're literally just giving me money. You know, you're just literally giving me money. And then on the bottom of every video I have, you guys can see that there's a link to my PayPal here where you can actually just donate a couple bucks if you want to. But I'm going to go ahead and say that, like I said to you guys, it'd be better if I was just getting more views. Like, for instance, this is the highest amount of views I've gotten in 1 month since I was doing Minecraft videos. Seriously, on one video. And that's kind of, for me, that's kind of like, I don't know if you guys know what that is, but I mean, I was making like 100,000 views at a point where I could literally afford to, like, my computer that's sitting next to me that I use to record all this stuff was absolutely made from my Minecraft videos. The money I made for it went right into upgrading my equipment. I got a you know, a Blue Yeti microphone. I got an Elgato capture card, decent speakers, and countless headsets. Nowadays, with how much money I'm making from YouTube, I'm gonna go ahead and just say that I can really only afford to like get like 3,000 gold a month, and I'm not kidding you on that. But yeah, if you guys are looking to support my channel more, I mean, at some point, I mean, if I was getting more views, I could probably look for sponsors, like actual sponsors to sponsor me in the future. But right now, this is pretty much the limit of it. Seriously, this is the limit of what I can do. Seriously, is just literally, you guys give me money. You guys can put stipulations, you know, like go to info about me, and you guys can private message me. You can also just leave on the video, hey, I donated money to you. You know, I would like you to review the 112. And I could go through and play the tank, get a mark of excellence on it, and then tell you what I really think about it. Or, like I said, you know, either way, it doesn't matter. This technically is not actually okay by YouTube standards, but it's not misleading. It's just a link to PayPal. That's all. It's a link to PayPal. So, anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video again. Comment, like, and subscribe, and have a good one. Later.